Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP caught his girlfriend cheating on him again. Let's begin. Am I the asshole for telling my wife we can adopt her nephews, but not her niece? Posted by Reddit user Own Antelope.
My wife's sister was recently found guilty of dealing to support her habit. She will be sentenced this week and is looking toward a long term because this is not her first time caught dealing. She has 3 children, 2 boys, 4 and 5, and a girl, 14. No one on her family's side wants to or are in a position to take the children except for me and my wife. However, I'm demanding 2 conditions. If we're going to take the children in, I want us to adopt them. I don't want 50 people looking over our shoulders trying to tell us what to do. If we're going to be legally responsible for them, I want to be able to parent them as we see fit. The second condition is that I'm willing to take the 2 boys but not the girl. The 2 boys have not had any rules in their lives and are terrors, but they're still young and can be taught right from wrong. The girl has gone past the point of no return. She's been suspended from school several times for things like fighting and smoking illegal substances on school grounds. She's also stolen from us and other family members. She's dating a gang member who was arrested on a home invasion charge, but was released because it was his first time and his age. This is a mess and we've been arguing about it for an entire week. I don't want to risk our financial and personal security, but my wife argued that we can't just throw her away. At this point, we're not even sleeping in the same bed, but I'm hesitant to open our house up to the girl and her lifestyle. My wife argues that if we don't take her, she'll go into foster care, but I pointed out if we don't take any of them, they'll all go into foster care. Edit. This is a repost from my original post in another room which was taken down due to some details about the girl's boyfriend. I removed those details. Update. I left out a lot of info because I was in shock and still am. We're both in our late 20s, have been married for a little over 2 years, have no kids, and I just graduated with my advanced degree last year. Last month we were talking about maybe having kids when we're in our mid-30s and about where we want to go on our Christmas vacation. Last week my wife came home, sat me down and told me we're taking in 3 kids. I know nothing about adoption laws, CPS, or anything related to raising children, much less troubled children. I knew what was going on with her sister and has told my wife's parents we're going to take the kids in. Apparently, they decided they are too old to take care of 3 kids. Of everyone in her family, we are the most financially secure and have a house, so when everyone backed out, she volunteered without asking me. That was the crux of our argument until I realized that it was happening with or without my agreement. That's when I told her we can take the boys but not the girl, which started another round of arguments. I've never raised any kids, so I'll know I can't deal with the baggage that the girl will bring into our lives. I can't begin to tell you all how shocking the whole thing is. Sometimes I feel like I'm outside watching my life spin out of control. I want to thank you all for your insights, and especially Reddit user but and the people working in CPS and or the legal system. Your advice is extremely helpful.
Honestly, OP, I think it's just more trouble than it's worth. I feel sorry for the children, I really do. But sacrificing the financial and home stability of your future biological children for something your wife demanded of you is not really a smart move. But speaking of smart moves, this is the comment and advice from Reddit user but OP was talking about.
As a social worker for CPA, cautious now. But you need to tread carefully, because your demands may not line up with reality. 4- and 5-year-olds raised in a chaotic and traumatizing environment will absolutely have some behavioral problems, which you are relating to running wild. That may not be as easy to fix. They will need extensive therapy. Whether you adopt them or not will not be up to you. You can ask it, but you won't be able to demand it nor expect it. It will be the choice of a judge, based on how much or little the parents comply with CPS requirements, how long the prison term is, etc. I would expect that you will be fostering the kids for a minimum of 12 months before you are allowed to start adoption procedures depending on where you live. And yes, the courts and social workers will be up your ass during that time and 6 months after the adoption takes place. You need to think about that as a reality before commuting to these kids. Signing adoption papers as soon as they come to your home will not be an option, unless both parents agree. Clear it with a judge, lawyers, psych evils, etc. It just won't happen that way. Where I disagree with most Redditors though is about taking in the 14-year-old being inappropriate. If you do not feel you can care for her, you shouldn't. But that shouldn't stop you from being a resource for the 2 kids that you are capable of protecting. I've been a long-term foster parent for children of friends and family, and I've done short-term foster care for kids in my office, anywhere from newborn to 17. A 14-year-old with gang affiliation, substance use, major trauma and behavioral concerns is not something most people with good intentions are equipped for. You can't just love and therapy all of those issues away. This kid sounds like she needs a higher level of care than you are equipped for. So you aren't wrong for recognizing that you can't give her what she needs. She needs an experienced parent with trauma-informed skills and a ton of one-on-one attention. You aren't an asshole for having this boundary and understanding your limitations, and any social worker would tell you that. But do be prepared that taking the boys will not be as easy as you imagine, and you will not be able to demand adoption. If you take them, it will be a trial run, heavily supervised, and maybe adoption happens later. Reconsider your plans based on that knowledge and decide if you are still willing. And call your social worker. You may not be interested at all once you see what the plan will look like.
I caught my girlfriend sexting her ex again. Posted by Reddit user OKAd.
I've recently discovered that my girlfriend of 7 years has been texting and sexting one of her old hookups from before we started dating. This is the second time this has happened with my girlfriend with the same guy in the picture, but about 3 to 4 years back. This time, based on the language she and he were using, it made it seem like they were really trying to meet up somewhere. I thought we had made significant progress in our relationship since the first time. But now history has repeated itself. My girlfriend definitely has many mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, lack of self-worth, etc. There have also been many moments during our relationship where she has fallen in a deep depression, where I even feared that she would send herself to the shadow realm. Luckily, she has never attempted to and has told me many times that without me, she would be dead. She has gained a significant amount of weight over the past years due to other numerous health conditions she has been diagnosed with over time, and I know she struggles with her self-image on a daily basis, so part of me understands and wants to sympathize with her in that regard. But on the other hand, I'm really upset and hurt and unsure if I can continue being with her due to me fearing that I can never trust her again. However, today I confronted her about the message I saw, fully enraged but after calmed down so we can talk about it. She said that nothing was going on and she had no intention of actually meeting with him and was just talking to him for validation for her insecure self-image. She said that she appreciates that I tell her that she's beautiful all the time, but doesn't truly believe it because I wouldn't tell her the truth if she was looking ugly, therefore why she seeks validation from others. As I said before, she has a history of thinking about taking her own life, and when I told her that I don't think I can continue on our relationship, she cries and hyperventilates. She then says that she has nothing else to live for and says that if I were to hear that she has taken her own life in the coming days, that she wants me to know that it wasn't my fault and I haven't done anything wrong and that it was her own fault for this happening, etc. I feel like she's definitely guilt-tripping me into wanting to stay, but I'm really hurt and upset over what she's done. However, I definitely don't think she should die because of it, and I truly still care about her well-being. I feel like I'm stuck with trying to make it work, but I'm not sure if I even want to try to make it work anymore. But I don't want to live with the guilt of her killing herself if I were ever to leave her. I really need some advice on how to end this relationship while also ensuring her safety.
OP, she is seeking attention and validation from other men. That is a huge red flag, my dude. But first, let me ask you a very serious question. Are you her caretaker or her lover? I may not be a mental health professional, but based on my experience and from what I read here on this channel, people with severe mental health issues or addiction problems don't really have relationships. They have hostages. Until they are well, they are not capable of being a fully functioning member of society, let alone a healthy relationship. It's unfortunate, of course it is, but it is reality. You better walk away now before this gets even worse for you. And now for today's final story. My wife says she has no libido and never wants to have sex with me ever again. Is this the end of our marriage? Posted by Reddit user Solid Truck.
TLDR. My wife says her sex drive is gone and doesn't want to try to rekindle it. Do I accept a comfortable celibate lifestyle or move on? Sorry, this is a long read. Well, the title says it all, but there's a bit of backstory for context. After some relationship issues about a decade ago, I thought my wife and I were in pretty good shape relationship-wise. We chat, we laugh, we are friends, have similar views on many things and generally fit well together. For me, the massive issue has been our physical relationship. My wife and I have been together for 23 years and in the beginning, our sex life was pretty great. As expected, the frequency and intensity faded a bit over time, but since we had our children, 21 and 17, the decline was very steep. This bothered me and we'd occasionally argue, something we do very rarely. I usually initiated sex and for the most part got rejected. Occasionally my wife would agree, and whilst I always thought she enjoyed herself or was a good actor, she was not very active and I often thought she was just throwing me a bone, so I'd leave her alone for a while. Before you come at me as some sort of monster always pestering my wife for sex, we are talking weeks or months between intimate moments. Don't get me wrong, I want to get physical more often. I'd be happy with once a week or even a couple of times a month, in heaven if more often, but I took what I could get. I love my wife and I desire her physically, but to be constantly rejected is soul-destroying, and was making me feel dirty and not in the good way for asking. Eventually, I decided that the next time we would have sex would be when my wife initiated it. That was 6 years ago. This has been growing increasingly heavy on my heart over the years. I have thrown myself into other things and generally kept a lid on it. My youngest turns 18 soon and finishes high school in a few months, and my intention was to hold on until then before considering my future in the relationship. All the time hoping for a miracle. What brought matters to a head was last week. I reached round my wife for a cuddle in bed and my hand must have brushed too low for comfort by accident. And not even that close, and my wife practically pushed me out of the bed. A couple of days ago I brought it up, not an argument, just talking, and just asked if she ever intended to have sex with me again. She said no. When I asked her why, she said she felt like she didn't have any sex drive at all. I asked her if she wanted to have any sexual desire for me again, and again the answer was no. To be told I don't want you, and what's more, I don't want to want you hurts. She says she is happy with our relationship as is, as friends and companions. I want more. I definitely don't want her to just lie back and let me have sex with her while she isn't getting any pleasure out of it. I want to be wanted. I want her to desire me as much as I want and desire her. I understand that sex drives can dip and even disappear for many reasons, but I don't understand why she doesn't want to see if her sex drive can be rekindled. I've told her I want more, but she'd told me that she's not willing to change things. I've been celibate and, to be fair to my wife, mostly happy with my lot for the last 6 years, but I am desperate for a physical relationship with her and have told her this cannot continue. I've said that if she don't look into how she can recover her libido, not necessarily even be having sex, by the time my youngest graduates high school, I don't want to disrupt her final year, then I'll look to start divorce proceedings. She just nodded. She seems to have chosen nothing over me and I am broken. I think my wife hopes that I will simply let this slide and we can slip back into our comfortable coexistence, but I can't. I have contacted a therapist and will start this next week. I need to try and come to terms with this rejection and learn how to move on. The thought of dating in my 50s terrifies me, but do I deny myself and slip back into my comfortable but celibate half-life, or do I risk it all in the hopes, however small, of something more? P.S. Please don't suggest an open relationship or having an affair. I only want my wife and won't do that to her.
First of all, to those who have suggested that OP open their marriage or he should just cheat on her, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Okay, moving on. OP, if you have mentioned divorce and she only nodded, it's not her sex drive that is the problem. She doesn't like you. Look man, someone who wants to be married doesn't immediately agree at the first mention of divorce. This marriage was over way before this entire situation. You were just too blind to see it. Another thing I suggest is that you dig through her social media, her emails, text messages. People don't just become celibate or become detached to their significant other overnight. There is always a reason behind it. In your case, I sincerely believe she's been fucking another dude for years now. If you dig just a little bit, I'm sure you'll find something. Good luck. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.